Yeah, that was better.
Ooh,
that was better. And I'm just going with
on.
it. God damn it, he's counting again.
Dude, just give it to me, and I just right-click in Premiere, and then it just syncs it. Or actually, I think it syncs it in any... Just right-click, sync.
No, Josh. We're doing my old school method here at Murder Moose, and you didn't want to do any production. So we're doing it like the goofy way.
Okay.
And yes, this is staying in the podcast because we're showing you behind-the-scenes shit right here. Yes, we are Murder Moose. We talk about independent horror, mostly. And I guess I don't know if you can call.
That's probably gonna change every week.
Probably. Oh, dude, it's until I write something down, I will just make shit up every single day.
No, but we'll go on like a string of like we just watched nothing but studio horror films for like 4 months. It's like we can't even say we do indie anymore.
We spent 4 months watching every Amityville horror movie and wanted to jump in front of like subway buses at that point, but
it happens.
We just decided because we lost our goddamn minds. 2020 made us crazy, man.
Wait, did you see the newest Amityville one that like they shoved under the carpet?
No.
I didn't either, so I was just asking.
I thought they have isn't there like 26 of those goddamn movies? There's a whole lot of them.
One just came out like literally last year or the year before, I believe. I gotta check it out.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I never saw it though. They've had like 25.
Yeah, 2017, Amityville: The Awakening.
Oh yeah, that was just like the last of the many.
I think I did watch that one actually. And it was terrible.
I think the only Amityville movie I've ever watched is the Ryan Reynolds one.
That one was all right.
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
But it wasn't. Okay, we're not talking about those movies.
No, we're not. We're not. But again, we're here. We're talking about all of these things. We are diving in this week on Murder Moose. We're talking about The Babysitter, and really to focus on The Babysitter. What's the second one called again?
Killer Queen.
Killer Queen, yes.
Because it just came out, and like I said, accessible horror. It's on Netflix, so you can watch it now.
Dude, Netflix is killing it with some of these movies. I don't think are getting enough attention. The platform is wonderful. If you haven't seen it,
I love their cast, or like it's a Netflix movie, so they're going in. Well, it's a sequel of a Netflix movie too, but you see a lot of these actors on like every other Netflix show or property, and Netflix is really good for, especially in the comedy scene in Netflix, to just like regurgitating the same actors over and over and over again. But they have that like perfectly stock beautiful person look down at Netflix. They just like they have so many. It's funny if you look at it like what Netflix is producing as like their original properties and like all like the people they use and stuff. They're going up against like Apple and now Disney Plus, and like the tiers of what production value gets you is kind of like it. Netflix has a big market because they have all these people that are from social media as well. So like they're not far off from like the social media like game. And I don't know. I Netflix is killing it. I love a lot of what they're doing over there. Yeah,
they're. I mean, you kind of have to fight for that space right now. It is between them and Amazon Prime and Apple TV, like you're talking about. It's just there's so much content. So if you make crappy content, it gets noticed real fast by the people. So
right.
So So let's just really quick go over. We'll spend like probably 10, 15 minutes on original Babysitter because we really wanted to talk about the second one. This movie this is one of those movies I have to talk about real quick. Is kids fuck with my head with how old they are, and the Babysitter, the first one, is kind of creepy because of it. The main character of this movie is named Cole, who is.
You think he's too old to have a babysitter?
I mean, he is. That's part of the concept of the movie. But more of like, this kid is supposed to be like 12 and he looks like he should be signing up for the draft. No, not that bad, but he doesn't look the age he's supposed to be, and like it's weird inconsistencies. Like in the second one, he's 16, and they're supposed to be 2 years apart.
And he looks like he's like 24 now. Yeah.
Yeah, but even in this in the original, they say he's 12, and I'm like, that doesn't. He's not a 14-year-old.
2 years later, he's in college.
Yeah. 2 years later, he's graduated and has 3 children with a bartender from Seattle named Larry. Yes, her name is Larry. That was the joke. No.
I loved the first one because it was Home Alone meets horror. And it was like Home Alone with consequences. And he set up, and it reminded me a lot of like one of my favorite movies of all time, Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah.
Because it was all it was the consequences of their actions that got them killed, and that Tucker and Dale was perfectly that, right?
Yeah.
Like, but the second one, I guess, that they set this up now for a reliance on that. It almost reminds me of like Final Destination too, because like it's all you're killing yourself essentially, right?
It's so weird. I mean, it's horror sequels. It's so rare for a horror movie especially, to like top its original in a sequel, right? It happens.
My wife loved it more than the original. I'm like, but it's just because she was overly entertained. She loves like comedy, and the second one wasn't. It had horrific parts, but it reminded me more of like what is that movie I'm trying to think of?
Are you thinking of Happy Death Day? Because that's what I'm thinking of right now.
Well, no, I love Happy Death Day, but no, it reminded me of the second movie in the Cornetto trilogy.
Damn, dude, you're killing me with film knowledge and everything like that. Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz. Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Hot Fuzz in it was a comedy and then just had horrific moments, right? Like this movie is supposed to be a horror movie, but it is full on a comedy and then just has horrific moments, right? The storyline obviously is like it's so self-aware too, and that's why it's so funny, because they can do whatever the fuck they want now, because we're completely self-aware that this is ridiculous, and that's why we're doing it, right? And it makes it more funny.
You can do that, especially in horror. If you go in and go, we know we're fucking stupid as hell, but we're gonna embrace that. Like, why do you think 19 Sharknado movies got made? I mean, like, it's self-aware garbage. Like, if you sit there and you like bust your own balls about how bad you are, people are going to give you, a shot. They're going to give you credit for trying to do something like with at least a sense of self-awareness that makes you at least likable from that aspect, right?
Yeah.
So
like Robbie Amell being just typecast to not have a shirt on now in movies.
He
looks good without a shirt on.
Dude, Robbie Amell is sculpted like a Greek god. Like, he's one of those guys who is muscular, but he's not like The Rock. He's not like, he doesn't have four necks worth of muscle to go like connected to his body. He's just super cut. And he's a good actor. I liked him for a long time. He was on Arrow, and then
I actually watched most of Arrow, and then just for some reason stopped watching it. But I really liked Robbie Amell. Actually, he was good.
It's funny because he's cousins with Stephen Amell, right? And I think they're pretty close, like acting wise, and yet I don't know. Stephen was doing weird things, and then well, don't mind me. I'm getting tired, but that's besides the point. No, so it's really to be noted too. Like The Babysitter was the first movie that Samara Weaving showed up
as like the badass, and now she's typecasting. Well, now she's getting more typecast as like the badass, which she's killing in every movie. And I love I just love her in pretty much everything I've ever seen her in. So the
Yeah.
more badass, like Mayhem, she was so badass in,
Yeah.
and Ready or Not. So
Yeah, Ready
she's
or Not
killing
was the
those.
one that I realized who she was and like putting two and two together because she is a dead like she's a clone of what do you call her? The one who plays Harley Quinn. What's her name? What's
Uh,
God damn dude, we're both I don't even know who should be doing this right now, Josh. I think we have to give up on this one.
Margot Robbie, come on.
I think we have to give up on this one. Are we too
No way.
Okay, we'll keep going. Fuck it. We're giving up. We're not giving up. Okay. So
Back
after
on track. Babysitter, Killer Queen.
just let's give a recap of the first one first, Josh. I know you want to talk about the new one because you just watched
Okay.
it. I rewatched this one too today.
Okay, the first one.
Yeah.
Babysitter.
Is
It came out of nowhere for me.
yeah.
And those are the movies that my wife and I overly love because she knows that I love horror movies and she'll sit through a few. It's hard for me to get her to sit through a just straight up horror movie. If it's swung around comedy, that's her favorite genre.
Yeah.
So if it's really well done, like the movie Detention, I don't know if you ever saw that one.
Oh, yeah, that
super
movie-
funny movie.
It's
it-
weird.
It's super weird, but that's the like style and stuff. We love that movie.
Yeah.
Her and I were like, and that was one that we just kind of like. It's like a bin movie. You find randomly, and it's like, oh, what is this? And we put it on, and we're like, didn't know what it was, and we were very impressed and loved that. Babysitter is that same vibe, right?
What do you know you're talking about? You didn't know
Well-
that movie that genius piece of filmmaking with PETA from the Hunger Games? Come on, man. Come on, man. He's
Well,
the
Mick G is known for like his action movies and stuff. So like when he does horror,
yeah.
it's wrapped in, I don't know, comedy as well, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and
it's-
his filmmaking, I don't know, man. I really want to. I don't know. The first one isn't as like fresh in my head. I just remember overly liking the first one.
I just want to give a recap so we could go into it because it's kind of like contextually important. Because it's basically
Without the first one, you don't.
Yeah.
You kind of have to see the first one to appreciate the second one more.
Yeah. It's weird because that when you watch a movie and a sequel back to back, kind of like I did today, you see things and you're like, did they do this thing too much? Like I think of like the running gag in those two movies is everyone at this kid's school like knocking him over and calling him a pussy. He just gets called a pussy like about 900 times between the two movies. And you just go, I don't know, is this the kind of thing where you don't remember that as much because you haven't seen the original in a while and you go,
Yeah.
this gets way more annoying when it happens like
Okay.
so repeatedly.
Well, I don't think most movies are meant to be like watched back to back,
Yeah.
especially a movie like this. I doubt they thought they were going to make a sequel.
Yeah.
Like it was very successful, and that's why a sequel was made.
I think they made it also because of Samara Weaving. Like she's like,
She's killing it right now, right? So
even though she's spoiler alert, not in the second one very much, and I'm still doubting it was her.
Oh my god, she didn't look very well in the second one, but she's just kind of there as like, I was a little too expensive, so I'm just like,
we got her for a day. She gave us like, she gave us a single scene.
You could tell.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie of the second one, you could so tell that everything was a set, like too much. It just turned into like this, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
It looked. You want to know where I thought of watching that movie? I'm like, they shot this at the exact same place they shot Piranha 3D that came out a little while back.
I loved that movie.
The movie is fantastically corny, but like it
but on
embraces it.
purpose.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
embraces
on
it.
purpose. But
So
B movies that do it on purpose and ramp it up to 11 and then give you a high five at the end, like, come on. That's just a good time, dude. And Piranha 3 Double D. Come on, the
I don't know if I
it?
saw Double D. Is that the one that Christopher Lloyd comes into, right?
It's amazing again.
Yeah.
I love cheeseball horror.
Oh, dude.
Man.
I mean, that's why I love
Like,
James Gunn, right?
Dude, have you seen Wolf Cop?
I've seen like posters and trailers. I've never actually seen it.
Dude, I got a signed Wolf Cop toy.
I love it. That might be the ugliest action figure I've ever seen, but
oh, it's amazing. But this is again Syncope, like Canadian crew, Canadian made movies, right? And because it's so well done too, man. It's but that's the vibe. And like crews in Canada, there's like 3 production houses that are doing like actual good horror movies, but from Canada. And I'm like trying, I'm close with one, but I'm trying to get really close with like these guys too, because come on, man.
Is that, I want to know how close to Velocipaster is that movie?
Wolf Cop is so well done, man. Like,
do you know what I'm talking about? Velocipaster. It's an actual movie where a preacher turns into I should say a pastor turns into a velociraptor. So the movie is called Velocipaster. It's on.
There's a guy in Calgary that I know who's making a movie right now. It's like a shark western. There's like he made like his animatronic shark, and there's like this like western town that they film freaking everything in. Like I was an extra in Damnation, and it was filmed at this western town, and they got this like I don't know, it's gonna be like this shark monster western. I don't know, man. So like
wow. It's going back to Sharknado, and we've already talked about sharks twice today. No, it's it's just completely ridiculous. The movie, and sharks, everything.
Dude, but that's what I love.
Yeah,
I think that's what I love about like just art in general, like creating, and that's what I love about metal music and like those type of like things. And horror is just one of those things as well that just embraces anything and like anything goes, and it's unapologetic, and that's why I love those things in my life. And I think like it all just makes me happy in the same ways, right? Like, and if it's expressing something and having fun with it, like this movie is definitely doing, then yes, it's definitely something to watch and see.
Yeah, it's that the variety of horror. I mean, I watch a lot of action. I mean, I would probably watch like action movies second behind horror, right? And action has the same kind of things where you're like, comic action movies and stuff like that. But I think
like
that
Fast and the Furious, you go big,
and
then you go bigger, and then you go bigger, and then you go to the space.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't gone to space yet, right? But
they are. That's what they're doing in this movie, this next one.
Is it really?
Yeah, they're 100% going to space.
Oh my god, I love it.
It actually was like leaked.
Part of me still wants Machete Goes to Space to come out really, really badly.
See, but I miss those days when Quentin Tarantino and Rodriguez were doing Grindhouse, and like they were coming together and just having fun, and it didn't do well, so they didn't go down that path. And I really wish it did well, because if it did, they had ideas to make that universe just keep growing. And even the stuff that spawned from it, like Eli Roth's mini trailer for Thanksgiving, and like the weird trailers in stuff, like I love that it brought together a community of filmmakers as well. And like that whole, like, I don't know, just like it felt almost like the bands of filmmaking coming together, and just like it was such a cool time for me
Yeah.
and it really like reinforced me being a filmmaker was like
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's like I'm thinking of those like super groups, you know? It's like
Yeah.
one of those super groups. I can't even think of a goddamn super group off the top of my head, but I would
Those
probably.
were just fun. But Rodriguez films are always like, they're never like fully polished on purpose.
Yeah.
It's like the Rodriguez touch. He's got that like campiness and
Yeah.
that like grittiness to his films that
Yeah.
I love.
But yeah, he's like, man, his career's gone weird. It's gone like,
Yeah. Spy Kids 18.
yeah. Well, that he started.
He just makes them in his backyard though. So
Yeah. Well, he
like
made
literally.
Does he?
Yeah, he made a warehouse where he lives
Yeah.
in like he lives in like he's got a bunch of land, and then he just made a warehouse in his backyard so he could do green screen movies, and they literally film like Spy Kids movies in his backyard.
Man, so much money. But like, he made a TV network, like, which I know because I used to watch wrestling on it.
Don't quote me on that, but that's what I heard.
Yeah.
It's essentially that or something. Right?
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the dude like got famous with those Mexico movies. What were they called? Like Once Upon a Time in Mexico or whatever.
I love all those
Yeah.
the Mexico movies, man.
I
Those are
forget
great.
like all the stuff with like Antonio
El
Banderas.
Camino, Desperado.
Yeah, that stuff. And
Yeah, those are great.
so he's one of those directors that's like very bragging about how little their first movie cost. Like, this cost
yeah.
me $38 and I had to give
Yeah, but
out
that's-
8 hand jobs.
Yeah,
But I got it done.
But I love that because that is his like the starting story. It's like Kevin Smith's Clerks, right? And then it
Yeah.
got picked up, and he's the like grassroots filmmaker still to this day. He tours his movies around for a profit every single time, but that's because he made that his like vessel for distribution. He's like, I know my fans will come out if I tour the movie around. So he sells out all his, yeah, it's crazy. It's a good model, and he makes money every single time. So
Even if it's Tusk, which I hate with an undying passion.
dude, I honestly like that movie. Again, like I don't hate it. It like it felt like almost like a like a mistake, yes,
Yeah.
but like super metal at the same point.
Yeah. I think it was a better this is your brain on drugs equation than most things, but yeah.
Did you see his other movie that he did with his daughter right after?
Oh, it
that?
was
That
real bad.
It was the
real
worst.
bad.
Like-
Nazi German or Nazi bratwurst.
It was seriously the war. I was mad after I watched it. I was actually mad.
It was
And
a
I
real
love
bad
Kevin
one.
Smith. Yoga Hosers.
Yep. That
and
movie.
Two movies back to back. Tusk, then Yoga Hosers. I was like, I don't know if I can even put my trust back in Kevin Smith anymore.
Yep. No, it is those.
But I liked the reboot. I went and saw the Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Yeah.
And when he brought it to Calgary.
Yeah.
And he's an entertainer and a half.
Yeah. He's a weird dude, man. He went from being a fat dude to start smoking pot in his like mid 30s, and then he became a massively fat dude. And then he had a heart attack, and now he's just a kind of chunky dude who looks like he doesn't fit in his own body anymore because he's like gone through all those weird like phases of his life. So yeah.
No, he has body issues, so he still just wears big jackets to hide his body because he doesn't want to show anybody, and the jerseys and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he loves his hockey jerseys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything that like hides.
Let's do a recap of this silly movie because it is. Do the first one and then we can talk about the second one. So the first one, a kid who's way too old to being babysat has a hot babysitter who is Samara Weaving, and her friends come over after he's supposed to be sleeping, and they sacrifice a nerd to the devil, and things go badly, and the kid kills everyone, and I mean that's basically
Home Alone style though, so
yeah.
it's like really fun and like he sets up like traps. It's awesome.
The movie turns into like
It's campy too. It turns into like super gory
yeah
campy gore.
yeah
They relied on over gore as like a comedic
yeah.
relief. It was weird.
It was like
And
Brain
that's
Dead.
a hard thing to do.
It's like Brain Dead / Dead Alive or Evil Dead 2 or.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Brain Dead Alive?
Yes.
The lawnmower scene is still one of my favorite things ever. So this movie was like one of the first big things that Samara Weaving got, and again we talked about Robbie and Mel love him, but so it was interesting to see her getting these jobs on Netflix and then it transitioning to bigger stuff. So what would you said you liked this one better than the second one, and I would tend to
Yes.
agree. How close do you think the two are?
I always appreciate, well, and this is setting up a bigger universe, obviously.
Yeah.
The first one was so good that it needed a sequel because the characters are so rich and they're all perfect cliches and perfectly cast cliches too.
Yeah.
So like, and that's again being self-aware because they are literally picking all the like cliched characters from a horror movie and putting them in as like it's almost like an avatar instead of an actual character in a movie.
Yeah.
It's like that's how like aware it is, right? So
It's
it almost feels like a parody of itself, or almost. I don't know.
The blood.
The second one.
The blood reminds me in the first one, maybe especially, and it gets carried over the second one to the stuff that like it's
The
over the top
splash in the face.
Yeah.
And I love that though. And that's used as like a comedic thing too, right?
It makes me think of like Kill Bill when she's like chopping people's heads off and it's like just spraying for an hour and a half, which still maybe
I love that stuff.
Yeah, I love it too. It's the how much of this is for comic relief and how much of it's just for like because the motherfuckers making the movie thought it'd be hilarious. So
the first one is so good.
Yeah.
And I don't honestly think it needed a sequel, but I'm glad it had one.
Yeah.
The reason the first one worked, and I always tend to gravitate towards movies that are stuck in one place.
Yeah.
Because they just end up working out a little bit more. You get to be more creative with the space and stuff. And
yeah, you're kind of forced to be, right?
Yeah. So like the second one, I felt like the first half of the movie had that same vibe of like being more creative with the shots and stuff like that. But then as soon as they were on the run a little bit more, it's just a follow movie, right? They're just following them in a boat, then following them go here. And then the shots get like boring and less dynamic. And then it's like a big set in the middle of freaking desert. It's like, it just looks like a set. It's so well lit. Like, I don't know.
You know what this movie did that actually it always kind of bugs me because I grew up the second one that is my dad military and whatnot, my mom military, so I was around guns. The cheerleader chick who comes back, a spoiler alert from the first one, she has a Desert Eagle which she shoots about 18 times in a row without reloading. You're like,
oh yeah,
you would have been out of ammo
in
like an hour
motion.
ago, motherfucker.
That was funny.
But yeah, so the house, they did a lot in the first one with the house that they set it up in, because there's literally not much of this movie, the first one, that is not in that house. So That's what you're talking about, being creative with it in the set and what you can do and not do. Yeah, the second one is, do you think that filmmakers have a hard time using a desert as a character because of like that generic feel to it? You know what I mean?
Why don't you ask Dune? He's probably going to use the desert as a character
I mean, yeah,
in
this is
Dune.
true. Sandworms. I'm, by the way, reading Dune for the first time.
I've never read it, but now, like, whenever he's making a movie, uh, what's his name? I can't say.
I couldn't tell you, but he's the guy who did Arrival, right? Which
Yeah, he's so good.
Arrival
He's
made me cry like a baby.
oh, same dude. Like, way too much.
That I
Dennis Villeneuve.
Yeah,
But that's like again to follow a filmmaker, someone and a team that's putting just master class
yeah,
productions together. Like him and Christopher Nolan are like the
yeah,
top two directors I think in the world, putting together like tentpole movies. Just
yeah.
the those are the they've raised the bar. They are the top for me, I guess.
Yeah, it's when you have the people who love cinema and like just understand that kind of stuff and can put those tent pole movies together. It's just like it's it's perfect because you have all the budget in the world. You could do whatever you want, be as
Yeah.
big as you want, be like I mean that's what the Avengers thing is. Like the
Right.
Avengers movies are all
Well,
just like
not really. Avengers is run by the Disney Corporation, and if you are have enough of a vision, but you don't have enough, they like almost first time directors. Like if you've done a movie and you've shown that you understand how to direct,
yeah,
but you're also new enough that you will take all the direction that the studio is going to give you, then you get the job. But if you're someone like Edgar Wright, who is a very good director and wants to do an Edgar Wright film,
yeah,
it's not going to mix because all of a sudden Disney comes in and goes, "No, you're not allowed to make an Edgar Wright film. You're making a Disney film." And he
yeah,
goes, "Well, why did you hire me? I make Edgar Wright films." And
yeah.
he's like, "Well, fuck you. I'm out of here." It makes
Like,
total sense
yeah,
because he makes Edgar Wright films, and that's why I fucking love him
yeah.
because
I
he's unapologetic about it. He's like a mini Christopher Nolan to me.
I have on my wall that you can't see a Scott Pilgrim versus the World
Oh,
poster
one
that
of my favorite
is
movies of all time.
yeah, because he just makes amazing cinema.
Yeah,
I'd like to see Edgar Wright get into real horror movies. By the way,
he's doing his next movie is a horror movie.
is it?
Apparently, yeah.
Oh, I'm very excited for that. The man can direct every day, and I would be a happy, happy man. Um, you know what?
Last Night in Soho.
Ah, okay. You know what? That's another thing it's kind of interesting about both of these movies. By the way, McGee's path as a director is really weird. Um, so his I don't
He did
even
Charlie's Angels, and I honestly liked that one. I like that crew that was in Charlie's Angels, the 2001.
yeah.
Like all those actors, that was like they were killing it all at that time. Lucy Liu, Drew Barrymore, Cameron Diaz.
And that was his first movie. Like, if you go look, he had a bunch of music videos, and then he started
Yeah,
with Charlie's Angels, and
that's how a lot of directors got their come up,
yeah,
music video route.
and he, I think he's more at this point known for things like Terminator Salvation. Like, I actually think Terminator Salvation kind of ruined his career a little bit.
But that franchise just has to fuck off because it is just like nobody fucking cares anymore. Like we don't want it.
Yeah.
Stop making it.
Yeah.
Give it the brand time to breathe,
Yeah,
and then maybe we'll want it in like 10 years.
yeah. Well, I mean, dude, we're in the year 2020, right? And so we're almost 40 years away from some of these things being out, right? Like the things like Halloween was 40 a couple years ago, and we have things like
Well,
Friday
I
the
feel
13th.
like I feel like some of these franchises just make movies because the studio that owns it has to put out a movie every 5 years in order to keep the rights to it or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And like you feel that with some of these
Yeah.
properties.
Oh yeah, it's definitely the case. It's you get to the end of the Friday the 13th movies and you go watch Jason X or you watch Jason Goes to Hell and you're like, oh,
I
and
love Jason X.
it's awful, but it's I love it too. It's really not a good movie though. The acting, I mean, it's cheesy, everything. But what I'm saying is, you get that really long period, and you go, okay, we could come back and do something different down the road. But how many times does that actually work? I have a special place in my heart for the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, but I know they're terrible. The second one's real bad.
I hated the second one with a fucking literal passion.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, believe
I
me.
hated the second one. The first one, honestly, I liked a lot of the things he did in his movies, like the first Halloween. Like his sound design was intense,
Yeah.
and I thought it was some of the better, more visceral sounding, like stabbing sounds I've ever heard. I love that he uses like black blood, just like some of those like Rob Zombie decisions. Like it's like those are cool, gritty decisions, but he made the second one into a fucking music video. It wasn't a movie.
It's just, my favorite thing about his movies, his Halloween movies, are that they're brutal. It's just the brutality of it, but that's about all. So that's the thing, is you have these movies that go away for a really long time, and then you have to go, maybe they're gonna be good, maybe they're not. But yeah, Terminator's way up there.
But Babysitter 2, it was actually good.
Yeah, it's weird. So McGee, after Terminator, he did a bunch of crap, and he's done 2 of these Babysitter movies. So it's weird to see how he went from Charlie's Angels here, but it's interesting stuff along the way. Yeah, so Babysitter 2, the
Killer Queen.
Killer Queen. The name of that will actually make my brain like hurt, but
it sucks because like I have like a Google Home or whatever, and I was like, hey Google, oh crap, it's actually like play the new Babysitter movie, and it didn't know, so it just played the trailer on YouTube, and I was like, oh okay, well now I know it's called Killer, and then I go and ask it again. I was like, oh frick, I forgot what it was called again, and then I had to watch the trailer again to get the name. To get, so it's stupid. Like there's a colon and then Killer Queen. No, just name it Babysitter 2. Like it feels like off-brand almost because it's got the colon.
Yeah.
Are they gonna make like a universe of this or something?
I mean, let's talk about it. The movie takes place 2 years after the original. It is the kid, what's his name? Cole is basically, this didn't make sense for the longest time, and maybe it still doesn't, but basically they didn't find any bodies at the end of the first one, which is insane because I think it's small lakes where the blood was dropped in the first one, but throughout that movie they don't find any bodies, and so they're all like, you're crazy, kid. And so they're just, the whole second movie, or a big portion of it, is them trying to tell this kid that he's crazy and he didn't see anything. So,
which I love the dad, because he's typecast as himself in every single movie, and he can only do that. He's so perfect for this movie too.
Yeah, he's very dad. He's very like what Homer Simpson would be like in real life, right? It's he's well intentioned most of the time, but when he needs to be like, looking for his son, he's playing VR headset with his weird neighbor named Jose, even though he's like the whitest dude in the world. That character,
I love all the social media characters in this movie.
Oh yeah.
What's her name? who makes like a Amanda Sorney or whatever makes an appearance, and then
Yeah.
all her friends from her videos and stuff are in this movie as well, right? So
I wonder if they've like paid to be in there, or is that just some like ploy to try to get their fans to go out and watch the movie? I don't know. I don't know. Um. So
no,
they're
like Andrew Bachelor, he's in like every Netflix movie that is a comedy.
yeah. Is that the dad?
What?
Is that the dad or the girl's dad?
No, that's like the friend who just keeps dying,
Oh, dude.
and then he gets left on the dock at the end. He's just like, "Oh, I made the right choice."
The man.
Andrew Bachelor, he's in absolutely everything.
Oh, okay, that guy. Okay, yeah. He's the guy who wants to be a rapper in the first one. That's his or singer or whatever.
Oh, right.
Yeah, which is a reoccurring joke back in this one because then they show I don't completely understand what was happening, but like it was either A, their own personal hells, or B, that like how they got recruited by Samara Weaving in the first one. I don't know. I'm not nearly as upset about that because this movie isn't supposed to make any sense, but so yeah, so
no, it's hilarious, and that's why it works so well.
This one
if it didn't pepper, this one's way funnier than the first one.
Yeah.
The first one, it because it's introducing characters, it has the opportunity to surprise the audience.
Yeah.
Now the surprise is out of the box.
Yeah.
So the sequel, we already know the like holy shit moment from the first one. So you don't have any holy shit moment.
Well,
so the only holy shit moments they can have in this are the deaths. So they ramp those up and make them very gory and bloody and funny.
yeah. At least they tried to throw a curveball in there. They tried to make you think that, and they actually did, because they make you think that it is the new like sassy girl at school is gonna be the killer person, and instead it's the little blonde girl from across the street from the first one who they kiss at the end of the first one.
Right.
She's the one running the cult this time, which
it kind of
like,
reminds me of like Scream in like who did it, who done it now, right?
But it's not who done it, it's who's going to do it, because you know it's coming. But
I love the whole Scream 3 thing. It's just like, oh, by the way, I was the mastermind the entire time. And like they did I can't believe they fucking pulled a Scream 3 in like Bond, the last Bond movie. By the way, the last 8 Bond movies, I was the mastermind the entire time. I'm just like, this is like a G.I. Joe fucking plot. What are you guys doing over here?
It actually always makes, it's the whole go back to Jason Goes to Hell, like the Jason Goes to Hell, and how like it's really the Necronomicon and all this and that. It's like, but no, you can't do that. Mythology established, whatever. No. You are way too far down this road to be making that idea come up now. So, yeah.
This franchise could just keep going on because it's been introduced that they just don't die and they just keep coming back.
Yeah, so all the characters from this movie were basically, they basically say Satan gives them a chance to do this every 2 years, so it's the sequel thing like you were talking about.
Yeah, like Happy Death Day 2. You.
Which they're never going to do another one, which is kind of makes me sad.
They're going to make it. What? They said they're not going to do another one?
They said they're done with them. I don't think they made any profit on the second one.
I heard that if the team or whatever, that they would make it into a trilogy. They don't care. It broke even, so they're just like, whatever.
Yeah.
But I love that franchise.
Yeah.
I would love to see a trilogy.
It's the same kind of concept, I think, like to kind of like what they're doing with
it's very similar.
Movies. Yeah.
Like in the vibe, like the first one, again, it had that like you're introducing characters, and you have that surprise moments and stuff. Where in the sequel, actually Happy Death Day got to rely on the same tropes over and over and over again because that's what it is. It's the Groundhog Day movie, so you just get to kill people over and over again.
Yeah, it's the deaths from the first. I mean, there's a lot of just like quality characters in the first one. I mean, because they transitioned to the second one, and like the cheerleader and her getting shot in the nipple and just complaining about her shot nipple for like most
You're
of the movie
welcome
after.
for being so good looking and stuff like that.
Who's gonna motorboat me now, or like whatever. I don't even know. She's like just complaining about it, and then but so they all come back, and that's where we were talking about like Robbie Amell, and he won't wear a shirt. And where was Robbie Amell being a waiter with the with
the name tag on his boob? That was hilarious.
On his
that was
bare skin.
It was the best.
That's why I just kind of thought he was like in hell being tortured when Samara Weaving came and got him. Right? I don't know though.
Yeah.
It was very odd, that whole part. So the little cute crush from the first movie comes back, and she's developed into the like hot rebel girl who bones the stupid quarterback or whatever. But the Cole from the first one is just all fucked up because of all the shit he saw and no one believing him. So his friend pulls him to the Piranha party where they all party where the Piranha movie was. I'm still convinced of that. I'm not gonna like back it up.
Oh wait, wasn't the guy from Stranger Things in the first movie?
No.
Okay.
I don't think.
I'm just looking at like a poster of the Babysitter. What? That's confusing.
He looks like the brother from Stranger Things, but no, that's not him. It's the same kid. No. Dude, this movie like actually it kind of horrified me because I was reading the IMDb casting for Cole, and it was like he became interested in acting at the age of 10 when Hugo came out and like oh my god.
Oh my god.
Or like that movie came out and he was like
makes us feel fucking old.
Yeah, it's just no time keeps on ticking into the future.
Dude, like when I think about like, because Back to the Future is my favorite trilogy of all time because it's the only true trilogy. Even if like I loved the Matrix trilogy more, which it's very, I still love the Matrix trilogy, but there's going to be a fourth one. It's you talk about any trilogy, there is no trilogies anymore.
Yeah,
because there's extensions off. The only true trilogy is Back to the Future. It's the best trilogy, but like but that ages me to a certain like place.
Yeah.
You think about like Universal Studios doesn't even have the Back to the Future ride anymore. I was like, what? When I was a kid, that was one of my favorite rides because it was Back to the Future, and it's like hardly a ride, but like to think about, and they don't have ET ride anymore either. Like the relevance of movies and stuff, like the brands don't live on forever unless you keep doing sequels and stuff like this, right? Like
well, I mean that's
kind of crazy to think about.
The best part about that is the Jaws ride in that at Universal or whatever that isn't there anymore because Jaws hasn't been anywhere in forever. And you think back to the Future,
but he's still
2.
an icon.
Yeah. Well, Back to the Future 2 and the joke of Jaws like 17 or whatever that they tell him that one, and it's just like, oh my god. Which is funny because it's we have these movies that you go, how many of them actually are there, because they don't number them anymore. So it's like I couldn't tell you how many James Bond movies there are. I know there's like probably like 20 of them at least, right? It's stuff like that. But
that's where like you think about James Bond as like the franchise that it is. It's almost like it's not a sequel. It's like a brand, and
Yeah.
you are selected to be a part of that exclusive brand.
Yeah.
Because it's just one big commercial for the most expensive products in the world.
Yeah.
The best cars, the best watches, the best suits. The cameras they use are the best. Only the people behind the cameras are the most expensive. Like it is the most expensive brand and action movie, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
Like that's what it feels like to me. They're just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so polished.
Yeah, which is a problem with horror. I mean, not always a problem, but it can be.
What, with studio horror?
Yeah,
That's
just
the only
being too
way
polished.
you get like.
I meant being too polished. It's not like that doesn't have any. I'm not saying it's always a problem, but I think too polished horror can be boring. It doesn't
Yeah,
have
I
that
guess.
raw nature of it, and not always. Like The Conjuring is super.
The
super
Conjuring
polished.
was like amazing, but
Yeah.
The Conjuring 2. See, The Conjuring 1 was like the first like full-on studio movie that he like got me. And jump scares, I normally just like see them coming and stuff like that. I was like got by The Conjuring the first time I saw it in theaters. Like a few times I was like, man, this is really, really well done.
Yeah.
But that's James Wan. He's too good.
Yeah, he's amazing. So the little girl, for the crush from the first one, has him like she's dating some dumb guy, and she's kind of a bitch. She's just not a very nice lady. Brings the friend to this party. They have a bunch of party boats on this lake, and they go up, and just like the first one, someone gets killed out of nowhere, and then they try to kill Cole for like the next hour, and it's not as good as the first one, like you were saying, because they travel most of the movie, right? They're like running away from everyone, and the scenery gets boring, like you're talking about, and it's, I don't know, I think it tried too hard to be the same movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I would have loved to have seen more of like a build up
Yeah.
and less of like, oh yeah, now we're in the shit. And
It's kind of like, it makes me think
I
of
loved that the parents didn't know anything until the end. Like
yeah.
just the naive, stupid dad. That was funny for me. I don't know. I have like a soft spot for him. And my wife doesn't like him. Oh, he's just the same. I'm like, but that's what I love about him, because he gets away with it because that's who he just kills it. I don't know.
Well, he's very good at it. So they go off and they go to this party, but the daughter steals the guy, her dad, the crush's dad was the Cole stole his car in the first one and drove it into the house, killing Samara Weaving. So they use the same joke again, where she steals. That's the thing. Like I said, it tries not to be.
It's a little recycled.
Yeah, and I don't know. I wonder, is that them trying to be like, haha, we're cheeky, we're pointing back to the original, or is that just lazy?
It's just lazy. I feel like it's definitely just that.
Yeah. And so the twist this time is that it's like his girlfriend, and he's the girl that he liked was the one trying to commit the ritual this time. And then it gets weird because, which is saying it's already weird, but all the characters from the first movie, minus Samara Weaving, she doesn't come back because she costs way too much money. And
Yeah, I know.
the other characters come back and try to kill Cole again. It was like the first one.
She's like, I just came to bless this movie. Bye.
Yep.
Like, that's what it felt like.
Yeah. And she's like, I just came for a paycheck. Okay, McGee, pay me. Come on, Netflix. You got $1 bajillion. And so the whole movie is the twist is that he's running away with this new girl, this like troublemaker girl, and they tie the first movie and what happened with Samara Weaving back to this movie and how she got, basically she was a good person for selling her soul to the devil because she saved this other little girl. And it's just, yeah, it was like a badly done Terminator 1, Terminator 2, where Arnold got too popular, so they had to bring him back as the good guy. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's kind of, you know what I mean? It's like that same feeling.
Yeah, but the second movie was way better, though.
I don't know if I like the second one better. I don't like the second one better.
You don't like T2 better?
Oh, no, I thought talking about Babysitter. No, Terminator 2 is. I don't know. I kind of like. You know why I like Terminator 1? I think Terminator 1 is.
It's like a horror movie.
It's a slasher. Yeah, it's like a slasher. He's running around and just.
It's definitely it's an 80s horror movie. Yeah.
Yep. And I really, really like Terminator 2. It's the same kind of thing, but it's
one of the best action movies ever made. But it's an action movie. It's not a horror movie.
It's aliens. Like it's aliens. It's the same thing. My favorite horror movie and probably my favorite movie of all time is Alien, and Alien is pure horror, and then it turns into action movie with horror elements in the second one.
Yeah.
And not that it doesn't have scary parts, but it doesn't build tension like Alien does. So it's the same thing, right? It's
Alien is, but that's like, but that's why, and I can't believe you haven't seen it, but that's why I love Annabelle Creation, because David F. Sandberg is so good at drawing out, and I love those scenes where it's just drawn out before something happens, fake out, whatever. But like, if you can successfully keep an audience or an audience member at the edge of their seat and like make them feel that way, and you do it successfully, fuck, that's what I try to do. Yeah. It's hard.
Building tension is so important in horror, and like I said, I do the streaming of horror games on Twitch. I've said here before, and when you build tension in those, it's so good because you could draw it out so much longer than
I guess movie. Yeah.
And things like music and everything like enable you to do that, but it's just good filmmaking or good video game designing or whatever. And
I've only played Dead by Daylight for and like Silent Hill back in the day and stuff, but not overly played too many like horror games.
I play a lot of horror games, dude. A lot of horror games. So everything goes through, and then these two run away for the whole movie, and then they finally get to the conclusion, and you find out that Samara Weaving finally made her one appearance on the set for a day, and she was really...
You could tell she was only there for a day. All her scenes, but like...
She was the good demon all along, and she didn't want to be a bad demon, and she had really saved... the reason why she had gone to hell was because the little girl who was now the dude's girlfriend again had almost died, and she had been her babysitter, and she's
like the tooth fairy of babysitters.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's like Mary fucking Poppins, but
I guess,
but like a demon. She's Mary Poppins, but she's like this again.
She sold her soul to save the girl, but then what's the timeline then of when that happened? Like, did she babysit the boy in the first one after she was a demon? I guess.
Yeah, she was. That's what they were suggesting in this one. That
so she's been like damned to babysit.
Yeah, for like 10 years.
But she was a cool babysitter to him for a long time and then did it. So like, what is she doing all of the other times in the day? Just always babysitting? Like what?
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of hell.
In the second one,
But
they
then
make it
she's
seem
just
like
having fun,
they would
and
just,
she's like a cool chick.
yeah.
I don't get it.
She loves ET. She go, ET phone home. It's like the reoccurring joke between the two of them. So,
In the first one?
no, I mean, yeah, it's in the first one, and then they do it one time at the end of this one.
Right, at the big, right.
Yeah. When she
She was
again,
there
when she
for
made her
half a
one day
second.
on
I forgot.
appearance on set.
I blinked and she was gone. I don't know.
And she's like, I got way too much money to make doing big things now. So, but yeah, so they eventually stop them, and Samara Weaving comes in and kicks people's butts. Her character's name is, and that's the end basically. And Cole's dad shows up and is like, "Oh, I really saw demons. You're not batshit crazy." So
That type of shit in movies is like, the eye roll part is like, oh my god, okay, fine, like.
So like basically they say, I think they kind of sell off that like it also explains why the bodies would have disappeared, the whole like they come back every 2 years or whatever.
Right.
So they've done it 5 times or something like that. That would be the 5th time they're doing that. They're coming back in the first one, right? So, or the second one, whatever. So yeah, it's just weird. It's it also, what I was talking about, explaining things more when we talked about Relic, the Relic episode, but this maybe could have done with explaining a little less. You know what I mean? Like just a little bit, not a whole lot less, right? But I don't know. I think if you enjoyed the first one, this one's gonna make you laugh, and I think that's
it's giving the characters, because like the reason the first one works so well and why I like the first one is because it introduced a bunch of characters that were rich and likable or hateable in a likable way. And
it's like Robbie Amell is, I actually think, I think Robbie Amell overall steals it because he does a lot of the heavy lifting in the first one, right? As like the shirtless dude, and it kind of carries over again, like in this one. Not that not all the other bullies and stuff aren't like, not bullies, demons aren't like capable of carrying their own weight, but Robbie just does a really good job of it.
Yeah.
When he kicks him in the dick in the second one, he's like, Cole, you finally found my dick. It's just like, this shit is hysterical. So,
I love when he's like, oh, when you killed me, I wasn't even mad. It made me like you more.
He's like, I was proud because, so what ends up happening is that Cole, the main character, bones the girl that's Samara Weaving saved, and he has sex with her, and they drink his blood because they think he's innocent and he's not, so they all explode. Which is kind of a good thing, but
that reminded me of Ready or Not too, right? Like,
dude, Ready or Not,
Samara's in that one too, and they blow up, and it's like the whole like devil pact in that as well. It's almost like a bigger budget Babysitter.
It's the Samara Weaving universe, like where everyone's gonna explode. Right.
That was such a good movie, though. That was well done.
I didn't know what to expect with that movie. Really, I didn't. But
that again is a bunch of filmmakers that has like a really good package. Like they're doing enough interesting things with the camera in between, and like their style is like it's just really well done. And what's his name who does the Evil Dead remake? That team is it reminds me a lot of Ready or Not and Fede Alvarez or whatever.
Which
his team.
Don't Breathe, which is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, those teams I feel are making similar like vibe, like just really. That's almost like that's what I consider polished horror.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's like so well done at the same time. So like that is like good polished horror to me.
Yeah, it's so weird, and this is just a side note. But it's because when you and I were growing up, there was like horror almost died in the 90s. It didn't really almost die, but it was in a bad spot in the 90s. Horror can't ever die. And
Dude, but that's when I started loving it. It was shitty slasher movies, like very shitty slasher movies. But I love slasher movies. So
me too, man.
But then Scream was there to save us.
I mean, that's what
all.
saved it, and that's what I'm talking about. But like after that, you had that transition to the PG-13 horror movies, and that PG-13 horror movies can be like really good, but I need some blood, man. It can happen every once in a while, but it's like it's that rare time when you go to like to the good hamburger
I'm down
joint.
if
You
there's
go,
a
I'll
mix.
take a turkey burger today. Like you'll
But
take
if
it
it,
every
like-
once in a while. It's just like a change of pace. But no, man,
Right.
you don't want turkey burgers every time. You want some greasy ass hamburgers.
But
And that's what like,
now
good horror is.
now you need to be R-rated in order to have an audience in a theater nowadays. Even in like a whole bunch of different like genres have to be R-rated. Like superhero movies have to be edgier to get an audience now too, right? Like it's So this is a better place for horror to be in. Better climate.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think overall, I don't know how well. I mean, me and Josh, we recorded another episode before this, and then we're also it's like 12:30 for us.
Yep.
So we're all over the place. But I really do think if you enjoyed the first one, you can sit down and enjoy this one almost as much. I think if you talk about it and think about it, like we just have done. I think we talked.
Did we talk about this movie?
Yeah, I think we did.
I don't know if we've overly talked about the movie. I think we talked about like 18 other movies and kind of.
I was putting out the plot
movies?
during it to just go on, but I think you were all over the place with that too. So it's okay. I talked about it going over the plot at least. If you like
No, you did it.
The Babysitter, then I think you can enjoy this movie. I think like you talk about it like we just did. If we did. It's not as good of a movie overall, but I don't think that matters as much. I think it's just a movie that if you enjoyed the first one, you can enjoy humor that doesn't, or horror that doesn't take itself seriously, right? So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Josh, what's your opinion on this?
Stupid popcorn, have fun. Like, you don't have to worry about much with this one. You're having a good time, man.
Yeah. I think that's pretty accurate. So, I think that basically wraps it up. I think that depending on when this comes out, it might be a bonus episode or it might come out as episode 2, but I'm not sure yet. We'll figure that out. Figure out how reasonable this whole episode is after I don't know what Josh and I talked about for the last hour and 9 minutes. So
wait, am I still here?
I think you're still here. Thanks to Josh. I just love bullshitting with you, dude. So we've been talking for like 3 hours, and I keep going off about other things. So tell everybody where they can find you, my friend.
I am sitting in this chair right now in my
God damn it, he is. I didn't see that.
My name's Josh WRB.
Yep.
Everywhere.
Go to his website.
Search
hang out with him. And he's cool people. And I am Rod_Johnson on Twitter and Rod_Johnson on Twitch. So hang out. Come say hi. Say whatever. Tell us how stupid we are and how if you have issues with ADHD, this may be driving people insane right now. So I think that's a distinct possibility.
This show had zero direction whatsoever. What the hell did I just listen to?
We don't know. I don't know what I listened to. We're debating whether or not we talked to the movie. I'm going to listen to this when I'm like half awake or mostly awake at some point and go, Okay, that there was a conversation. I don't know what the fuck it was about, but it happened. So yeah, so you could find me in those places.
That's all that matters.
Leave a review on iTunes. Give us suggestions. Tell us what movie we should watch. If we get to it, we get to it.
That's what I would love for this, just in general. Like if anything we ever do gets a community that people talk to us,
Yep.
I like asking the people that talk what they want to have talked about, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay, everybody. We love you, and we will catch you next time. Peace.
Bye.